What is up, guys? I'm the Senator, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how to play Smoke. Now, this video is designed for people who may be brand new to this game, they may be just coming into this game and being overwhelmed by the huge number of operators that are available, and you're trying to learn how each of them mesh and how they're supposed to work, and it can be very overwhelming. So hopefully I'm able to help you out in that area. This video is also for people who may have been playing Siege for a while and you're really struggling with Smoke and you're trying to get a better grasp on how he's supposed to be played. But I think regardless of skill level, I'll be able to help you here, or I may be able to reiterate something that you may have forgotten. And so before I get too deep into the video, I need to explain the role of Smoke so you can understand why you're playing him. And Smoke's primary purpose is area and plant denial. He is the operator that is there to stop the operators from entering site or planting the diffuser. And he's the best at doing so, considering that his smoke canisters, he has 3 of them that last 10 seconds each, so that's 30 seconds of denial, and if an attacker gets in its area of effect, that does 30 damage per second. So 3.5 seconds and the attacker will die if they're in the cloud. So he's the best when it comes to denying the plant. And since he's the operator that has to be there to stop the plant or stop the entrance into site, he's really an anchor who is the last line of defense. And it's because of that you, in order to play Smoke, you have to be a player that is very conservative. You can't take on every gunfight that you see. You're only useful to your team if you're able to stop the plant or stop entrance into site. And if you can't do that, the only thing you're useful for is creating the rotates and putting up your reinforcements. So if you're not there until the last minute of the round, if you die within the first minute of the round, you're really no use to your team at all. So if you want to play Smoke, you have to be a very conservative player. The other role that Smoke takes on is the ability to create rotates. And there's a few reasons as to why he's the one that is there to create the rotates. First of all, he's the main anchor. He's the big shot of the anchors that's on site because of how great his ability is. So he needs to be the one to create the rotates that he needs to make. And second of all, he can afford to be the one to run a shotgun as a primary, as opposed to maybe look at a Valkyrie. She has a shotgun. Well, isn't she, the one to create rotates? Well, it's because Smoke has the best secondary in the game, the SMG-11. Statistically, it is the best weapon in the game. And yes, I'm running red dot on the SMG-11. I know that's a sin, but I prefer it just for the reticle, considering that this is a weapon that has the highest fire rate in the game. It only has 17 rounds in the mag, and so it is very unforgiving if you miss your shot. So very high risk, high reward. So in that case, I want the best reticle possible, and I know that the red dot sight isn't the best sight, but it does have the best reticle. Aim small, miss small. So that's why I use that, but it's all down to personal preference. But if you want to get better as Smoke, if you want to be an effective Smoke player, you have to learn how to use the SMG-11. And what I recommend you do is you go into a T-Hunt as Sledge, and he has the SMG-11 as his secondary, and just use the SMG-11. Try to go in as Sledge with the SMG-11 and get 3 kills before reloading your magazine. And the reason you want to be doing that is because it forces you to hit your headshots. Again, you have 17 rounds in the mag. If you get those 3 headshots and still have some rounds left, then it means you're pretty accurate, first of all, and you can control the recoil, because right here, this is me not controlling the recoil at all. It's insane. And this is me trying my best to keep it held down. Again, not the best. So if you want to get better, you need to go into a T-Hunt and just learn how to burst fire it. Like that. And once you master that, you will be, the deadliest defender, because again, best weapon in the game, and so if you learn how to control it, you will be amazing. Now, as you can see, I sort of set up the site the way that you'd usually expect a Smoke player to do, and I'm explaining to you why I've set things up the way this is and why I've put a reinforcement here. This rotate here because you're usually going to have a man with an ACOG, either it be Doc or Rook playing up here, playing on that doorway. So they need to be able to get back into sight without having to jump through this window. And I put a rotate right here because you want to be able to rotate through cache to red if you need to, or from this hallway into cache. And the reason I always make sure to put it right here is because this is where I play as Smoke. And the most important thing you need to remember as smoke is your positioning. Positioning is so important as smoke because you need to be put in a spot where you can block them from entering the objective and block them from planting. And so when looking at cache and server or CC on Clubhouse, the most popular spot to plant is either right here if they're able to push into objective, but really the most popular spot for them to plant is back in here because they have so much cover back here. And so being set up on these red stairs allows me to stop the push from coming up red stairs. I'm able to know if they're pushing in through that wall, if they're on that window, and if they're coming in through cache. I can stop plants and stop entrances from all those areas. And the only parts of the site that I do not have eyes on is this rotate and this window. And so I think with all things considered, being able to lock down this doorway and red stairs and that entrance, keep them from entering right there, this is probably the best spot to be in. And so if they're coming in through workshop construction and they're trying to plant right there, I can throw my toxic babe right there and that will stop the plant or keep them from entering. Also from right here, and they go through that rotate in a garage, I can still throw this over there and that will stop the plant. Being it right here, they either stop the plant or it forces them to go this way where they're really exposed by that doorway. So that works right there. And also, if you're not comfortable with using your toxic babe and peeking that doorway, if you know there's somebody with an ACOG on there, you don't want to contest that, which you probably shouldn't considering your smoke, you need to play conservatively. You can come into here, and this is where your shotgun really comes into play. Have these pre-placed smoke holes. So you can easily just throw your toxic babe through the smoke hole. And it lands on that wall, and you'll easily be able to deny the plant right there. So again, you're only useful as smoke if you stay alive until the very end of the round because you are the last line of defense. You are there to stop the plant from a distance. So again, if you're playing smoke, don't go out there expecting to drop 3 or 4 kills. You are here only to stop the plant, and that's the mindset you need to have. I know it's fun to get all the kills, but really you need to be conserving yourself and conserving your gadget for that plant. If there's like 2 minutes left and they're already trying to get into sight, honestly, that's a scenario where you want to rely more on using your SMG-11 and gun skill than using your toxic babes because there's a lot of time left and you really want to save those gas canisters until the last 30 seconds where they have to plant. So say there's like 2 minutes left and they're trying to come in through there, that's a scenario where I would want to rely on my SMG-11 skills and not wasting my canisters. Because again, so much time is left and I want to rely on my gun skill. And also in that scenario, that's the case where I may not want to take that gunfight. Only take the gunfight that I know that I'm confident in winning or using my gas canisters to stop the entry. So just overall, try to be as conservative as possible whenever you're playing smoke. And so this is just a really quick and bare bones way of looking at smoke. But what I recommend you do is watch some Pro League play. Smoke is picked in almost every round in Pro League because of how great he is at stopping plants. And in Pro League, usually the last 20-30 seconds of the round is where all the bodies are dropped and everything really happens. So smoke is very important in Pro League. So just go look at how they set it up because there's different ways to set up for each map. This is just the way I like to set up when looking at CC and cache on Clubhouse. But just try to be creative. Find ways to create these holes in order to find ways to smoke them off. This is really where map knowledge comes into play. If you know the map, if you know the popular plant spots, then you can set up in a position where you can easily deny the plant. So that's about it. Sorry this is really bare bones and simple, but I wanted to explain this to people who may be brand new to this game or people who really don't understand how smoke is supposed to be played. I know there are a lot better smoke players than me, but hopefully this puts you on the right track. And I felt the need to make this video because I was playing the other day and I saw a smoke player who was roaming off site, above site for some reason. Like, no, you're the anchor. He is the best anchor in this game, and he's supposed to stay alive the longest. Again, he is the last line of defense. At least that's the way I see it, considering he's supposed to stop the plant and stop entry. So clearly, there's some room for improvement. Clearly, there's people in the community who don't really know how to use smoke, and so hopefully, after watching this video, you have a better grasp on that. So if you have a friend who's trying to play smoke and they're trying to, become a smoke main, show them this video. Hopefully they get something out of it. Even if your friend's a smoke player and they need to improve and maybe they already know all this information, give it to them anyway, because maybe you'll be able to reiterate something that they've forgotten. And again, I know I'm not one of the best smoke players. I know for certain I'm not one of the best players, but I think this will be able to help some of you. So I'd like to thank you for sticking around to the end of the video. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and hit the like button. And remember to subscribe and hit the bell icon. That way you can be notified every time I post a video. I am the Senator, and as always, have a good one.